us here. Nancy, absent. Katie, absent. Kendall,
Here.
Terry,
Here.
Beth, absent. Brandon, absent. Scott Fisher,
Here.
Logan Krause, here. Craig Sanderski,
Here.
Craig Coakley. And we did have Nancy, Katie, and Beth emailed in advance, so I'll take a motion to, well, should we excuse Brandon too? He didn't reach out, but
Yeah, I mean, I think of what, 4 or 5?
we'll let this one slide.
Yeah.
But, okay, so a motion to excuse Nancy, Katie, Beth, and Brandon.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Logan. All in favor, or any discussion, sorry. All in favor, say aye. The ayes have it. Approval of past meeting minutes. Craig sent these out in advance from our October 27th meeting. A motion to accept the minutes. So moved. Thanks, Logan. Support.
I'll second.
Thanks, Kendall. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes from October? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, minutes are approved.
Do we need somebody to do note taking? Since Katie's
Designate. We can, but you are providing the minutes.
well, she's been sending me the.
Oh, she has been?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just formatted it. And,
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey.
We're gonna, we excused you, but we'll change that.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're
Yes, sorry.
perfect.
And also sorry about last meeting. I had the wrong day in my calendar, so my apologies to everybody.
Do you want my notes or somebody else?
Whoever, yeah, if you take good notes or whatever, I'm good with that. Yeah, I can.
I can.
Okay, you want me to or you want to?
Totally up to you. I trust Terry's notes.
All right, I'll take some meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just say I'm an awful note taker, especially once I get talking.
But I can send you these first couple things that I...
All right, yeah, I'll make sure.
Okay, so we are on to public comment. Don't see anybody here. So moving on to business.
That was actually supposed to be taken off. That was from last week. I don't have anything to do with that one.
We'll remove that. New business, the December meeting. So I asked Craig to put this on here. It is looking like we're going to be the week of Christmas for that, and so I am proposing that we cancel the December meeting. If everybody's in support of that, I'll take a motion to cancel the December meeting. So moved. Thanks, Logan. Support? Scott Fisher, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the December meeting will be canceled, and Craig, you'll update the city website on that. Okay, now we're on to subcommittees.
That one I just put on, we had a discussion briefly about that last week as we were talking about the fee schedules and what was the other one last week, or last month?
The ordinance, wasn't it?
The design standards.
Oh, design standards, yeah. But yeah, we talked about potentially having subcommittees to dive into those, so do we want to do subcommittees? What do we want to call subcommittees or structure them? Who's interested, etc. So it's kind of opening the floor to discuss that.
Maybe what we could do is put this in the meeting minutes and then the January meeting assign committees, or, who might be interested, give them time to think.
So do they just discuss what kind we want, what we want the...
Yeah, Yeah, that might be an idea, just for they know whether to volunteer come the January meeting, if they want to be on how many subcommittees do you think we need?
I don't know, are they gonna be standing committees, or would it just be until we, something for the
Yeah.
fee structure until that's resolved, and then we move on to the next
Right,
topic?
yeah, I'd probably have them sunset as soon as the thing was done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so some sort of a subcommittee for park fees.
Fees, and then design standards, right?
Yep. Is there anything else that we want to focus on early on stuff, or do we want to stick to just 2 for now? Is anybody interested in anything specific that they want to see?
You had talked about recreation. Do you want to do like just an exploratory kind of?
Like trying to get more
Just more just maybe organize like what actually does happen in parks already. Like I know there's a calendar, but maybe just a little more thorough.
It might help out our special events coordinators too. So.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think it's ever too early to start thinking about some of the volunteer stuff that we talked about, even if it's not until spring.
Do we want to lump those together as like events volunteering versus 2 separate subcommittees?
Well, I think Logan's idea was really about understanding the recreational uses of parks as like a more research-based, and I was thinking more like volunteer organizing to clean up the war memorial or whatever they're doing.
Because probably at the beginning would be one of the same kind of, but
Yeah.
Awesome.
hopefully eventually split.
Okay.
I like it. And on the note of some of these, I was looking at some costs. So I was telling you guys before about NRPA, the National Parks and Recreation Association, that they have a place to get on there with forum discussions of stuff, as well as resources that people post. It's only $270 a year more for me to go from just my 3 employees having access to that to for the whole parks department, and it says in there for up to 10 committee members and stuff like that. So we'll probably try to budget for that, or potentially even get that added to this year to add you guys in, so that these committees can go and look up some of those resources that might be helpful.
And what's the name of the group?
NRPA, National Recreation and Parks Association.
Is it just nrpa.org or?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I'll double check that. Yes, that's all it is.
Very cool.
So we'll send something out to the people that aren't here to let them know these are the subcommittees we're looking at, and then we'll discuss it more in January. Plan to
Yeah.
pick who wants to be on it, what is all going to be involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to delve into more of what we're picturing for these committees so we can make sure everybody knows what to expect when they're volunteering? Or is that going to be more of at the next meeting? Give everybody some time to think on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just some simple bullets, the design standards, kind of an idea of what looking for on that.
Like the example I sent you already of kind of...
Yeah, and just, we could put our heads together.
Just so you guys are aware on that, after our meeting last time, I looked up some of those NRPA resources and found one that was park design standard for signage, and it was like a 50-page document, but it had like, for every instance of a sign, this is what it's going to look like, where you use it, how you put it off the path, like how far off the path, and all this detailed information. And I sent it to Terry, and he said that that same company did the ones like coming into Bay City that say City of Bay City with the ribbon things that talk about where everything is and wayfinding. So potentially we might already have a start for that. But
We have to dig a little deeper.
Okay, staff comments?
Yeah, so for project grant updates and stuff, so Carroll Park, the RFP that I wrote up is with purchasing. They're making a few edits that should be going out in the next week or so. We are requesting proposals for both design and installation in one. So they were a little thrown off on it first time we've done them that way, but talking to other playground manufacturer, that the playground manufacturers can do the design themselves, so why pay for engineering when they include that into their product and stuff anyway. So we'll see how that goes, but it seemed promising. With that, the next bullet, I went to a training that MParks put on in Game Time, Sinclair Recreation, Game Time, and Playcore. They're different companies, but Sinclair Recreation is the Game Time is the product. Sinclair Recreation is the Michigan. Yeah, they're the Michigan sales company basically.
Okay.
And then Playcore is semi-involved. I don't know if they're a separate company, but basically they're working with MParks to do a grant. So it's 100% match on the equipment alone. So out of our $1 million project for Carroll, we're estimating maybe $200,000 that would be for the equipment itself. So potentially if we were to get this grant, we could have another $200,000 towards equipment. I did ask, it is not obligated, so if we were to apply for the grant and get it, but then when we go out to bids, Game Time or Sinclair Recreation doesn't get the grant or get the project, we're not obligated to take it with the grant, something like that, so it would just go away. But if they did get it, we would get potentially additional funds. But that whole training was pretty good, so it's part of some statewide initiative which goes along with what that initial grant was supposed to be for inclusive recreation, that Playcore has an actual certification that they put on their playgrounds for inclusivity and stuff, so they make sure that all components of that are met. So if we go that route, we could potentially get more funding and have a certified inclusive playground. I don't understand if that's just that company has a certification, so I don't know if it's a national thing or if it's just their own thing, but.
Now, with that grant, would that backfill the cities?
No, so this would be additional.
Okay.
Yep, I did ask on that.
Improve the project overall.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know, I did ask a few qualifying questions, so I was like, it's kind of a weird scenario, because usually we wouldn't apply for a grant that's for one specific company, because we have to bid it out, but with it not being obligated, that's fine. And then he said, I was like, also, how do I know we're bidding this out to do the designs? I don't really know for sure how much the equipment's going to cost for our design. But he said to do our best guess, and then once they come up with the design, if they were to get the project, they can adjust with that grant amount. So I'm pretty sure the grant is just that company is basically giving you 50% more for the cost. Because it's apply in January, get awarded the grant in February, and then it has to be spent by the end of the year. So, seemed promising. At the very least, they have a lot of good information in their documentation and stuff, so even if we go with somebody else, we can kind of look at some of that information. And then the other thing on here, historical signs. So we were looking at a grant for historical signs that can be, I think it can go anywhere from $2,500 to $50,000 for the grant. But we're looking at replacing kind of those old blue historical markers that were around the rail trail, the metal frame, there's like the blue metal. Those were ripped out a couple years ago because they were in pretty bad shape. Our thoughts on this, so we haven't applied for that one yet, but it's, if it's less than $25,000, it's 15% match. If it's over $25,000, it's 30% match. It can be used, so we've already had some conversations with SVSU and the museum. So we're kind of thinking hiring some interns from SVSU to help do some of the research and figure out what those signs should be. And it won't just be the signs, it'll also be an interactive story map on the internet as well with the QR code to take them onto that. So with the grant, it needs to be not just, like the old signs were like, you know, the fishing pier used to be a railroad bridge crossing, and that's all the sign said. And then there was one for like, this used to be where the 3rd Street Bridge was. It was just a paragraph saying this is what used to be here. So they're looking for more of stories of people who are underrepresented, so Native Americans, immigrants, people of color, etc. So I'm hoping with going through the school or with the museum that we can maybe find stuff that's somewhat applicable to the history that's there, but dive deeper into other people that were involved and stuff. But it seemed promising, and I think we'll be able to get a lot more out of those historical signs and markers going this route than just trying to pay for them on our own. So, because that was the original thought, was we go for like $5,000 just to buy some signs, and I was like, I don't know that I can get the history stuff figured out in time to get those signs put in. So, is there any thoughts or remarks on that? On anything additional like we should be looking at? I guess if anybody has any. If you know any history or anything in that area, feel free to bring it to us. But
Is there areas in particular? Or
so we're looking for vets just to start, because they want kind of like a walking. The grant wanted like the idea of it being a walking path, so we didn't want to scatter around the city too much to start. So we're kind of thinking potentially from Bigelow to could be all the way to Defoe. I think we need to sit down with the museum first and figure out kind of what things along there would make sense to. I think we need to have those subjects at least before we get going with the grant. So we're working on it. The museum wants a cut of money if they're going to be involved. So we're trying to decide how involved they're going to be. If it's just get them to find some subjects and then maybe to review the student stuff at the end for accuracy. Maybe they're minimally involved and it's more the students and the teacher at SVSU.
Which museum?
The Big County area. Yeah, we did reach out to both them and the Maritime one of them all.
Okay.
We didn't get a response from either of them. I ended up stopping in here and talking to them. I think this would make a lot of sense to partner with them because we could stick the students up here at City Hall room or something and make it easy for them to walk over and discuss stuff. So we're just trying to figure out, what makes sense.
And we do have historical pictures of the former, shipyard cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I do want some of that involved in this project as well. Whether it doesn't all have to be about underrepresented, just has to be, some of them have to be, like probably 50% should be.
And this isn't going into describing trees, birds, animals, anything. It's
Just history.
strictly urban history.
Yep, if we want to add that other stuff in the future, follow the same style, the signs and stuff, we could do that outside of this grant, but this is just for history, yeah.
Okay.
Like who's the grantee?
I don't recall. Our grant writer found it and she's been the one communicating with them. I could look it up.
I was just curious.
Did you have something else, Brandon, too?
No, I don't think so. Actually, with there was a guy from the History Museum, Sam, that...
I did reach out to him. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, he works for Don now.
Yeah.
And, Don's on the board of Canada, and, we're friendly. So, but I was like, that guy probably.
I did reach out to Sam, so when I didn't get anything from the museums,
Yeah.
I was like, hey Sam, I know you were involved in this. Because just for some little background, when Tim, my predecessor, was still here, we were working with Sam at the museum, and we were going to start redoing those signs, and that's when we ripped out the old ones, because we were intending to replace them with new ones shortly thereafter. There's 3 signs that are going into the Arboretum this week or next week,
Okay.
and that information was all found, researched by Sam.
Oh, okay.
So he found all of that, and it was after Tim left that set, and just a drive for the last year, and then once we had this project moving,
That stuff was very good that you shared with me that one time.
Oh, yeah.
But, I didn't review it thoroughly, but it looked really nice.
And I'll share that with everybody too. It's too late to change anything on those ones. Those will be installed, like I said, this week or next. But the ideal would be to use the same format for the rest of them.
One of my coworkers is on the board at the museum, so I could at least, I don't know, put a bug in her ear to see
Okay.
if that would help at all.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's great to get that history down there, so anything we can do to get things moving. And like I said, once we have that format in, we can budget for 2-3 signs a year or something and keep it moving throughout the other parks and stuff. Probably should have put more on here. I didn't know how much discussion we were going to have on the subcommittees and stuff, so I guess if anybody has any other thoughts or questions.
I had something and then I lost it.
I know it's a stupid clerical thing, but the door opens at 6 p.m. and our meeting starts at 5:30.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
Good catch. Okay.
I'm looking at contracts at work, sorry.
The Christmas trees, for some other updates around the parks. Christmas trees down at Winona, that was set up today.
I was behind the motorcade on the way in from the Thumb,
Oh, is that where it came from, was the thumb?
Yeah, I have to assume it was coming from that side of town, so.
I know last year's came from over by Hewitt Park, but I know that one was actually in pretty rough shape, so maybe they're being a little more selective there. Last year's tree, they ended up having to ratchet strap all the branches back into it. If you would actually look close, it was some maintenance stuff. We had a gate in the uptown area that fell in the river, and our staff went out there I was planning on just doing an insurance claim and getting a new gate made up, but they threw a magnet in the river and ended up finding it and pulling it out. So we'll get that back up. Everything's pretty much winterized, or everything is winterized. We had to re-winterize Winona. Somebody got into one of the bathrooms. I don't know if somebody had a code and got in and didn't shut the door all the way, so that's been taken care of before we had any damage. Parks have all been mulched. I think we're done mulching for the season. At this point, we're going to be getting snow next week, so usually we'll stop once that happens, but we did make it through everything, and everything was pretty well mulched. I'm sure a few more leaves have fallen since, but I think today they were still out. But things have been moving along pretty well with maintenance stuff. I feel like we've kept on things pretty well this year.
Can you explain how the rail trail is maintained by either ourselves or the townships?
As far as leaves or
Do they
snowing?
snowplow or anything like that?
So we snowplow the rail trail, our section at least. I know when Tim was here, he was trying to convince the other 2 townships to let us just go straight through and finish up the loop. I believe Portsmouth was hesitant about it. They felt that it was an insurance issue or liability issue, so I don't believe they plow theirs at all. I think they leave theirs unplowed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we do plow ours, and generally,
Does Bangor plow theirs?
I don't know. I can't remember. if they do or not. I almost don't think they do, but they were open to us plowing it, is I think what it was. But without being able to go just straight through, it wasn't worth us doing their section. Yeah, I mean, I can reach out to them again and see if they'd be interested.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they, maintain that. Yeah, there should be a scenario where everybody kind of pitches in and gets them plowed for every snow.
Yeah, 'cause it would not take much more for us to just keep driving and knock it out. So if anybody's been on the rail trails in the winter, we do not plow the full width. We just have our little mini loader that we have a small V blade on the front, and we just do one path all the way through.
Okay.
If we get ahead on things, sometimes we'll go back and widen it up, but usually it's just one path.
Yeah.
But for anybody that doesn't know, for Parks Department plowing, we do the plowing of all the dead ends in the city, all the alleys in the city, sidewalk, parking lots, and the rail trail. So our priority is generally the emergency parking lots, downtown alleys, first thing because it gets busy and hard to get to afterwards. Then we have one truck running through alleys, the rest of our crew's going through dead ends. If we have extra staffing, we'll send somebody through to do rail trails and sidewalks. Otherwise, once the dead ends and alleys are done, we send our couple crews or a couple people to go do the rail trails and sidewalks.
Streets doesn't do those?
No, they do all the main roads. We just do the alleys and dead ends. Because we have the pickup trucks, they have the big trucks.
Okay.
More departments are starting to get the pickup trucks, so I feel like it could shift, but it's always been a Parks thing. So.
Do you blow leaves off of the rail trails?
Not regularly. If we're out mowing, they'll run the mowers over and mulch everything. We did last week get somebody called in and requested us to go down to the Hotchkiss trailhead, so we ran down there and blew that all off. But yeah, otherwise, no, we just mulch as needed. Okay.
Well, it's unfortunate because I don't think the day will ever come, but there's always been a desire to take a look at those right-of-ways, find out which ones should be terminated, vacated. This way you guys don't have to maintain them. I know good candidates to vacate those right-of-ways, but it's just a big undertaking.
Yeah, I know last year, the year before, it must have been the year before, it was my first year in Parks. Art Door's old house there off of Walnut, that was on our list to plow that, and one of my staff called me, he's like, this doesn't look like something I should be plowing. And
Right.
I drove by, I'm like, no, I agree with you. I'm like, let's skip it. And sure enough, they ended up calling. And before they called, I went and talked to somebody in our engineering department. And I was like, can you double check to see if this is on Act 51, which is the map that the state pays us for, or federal, I don't know if federal or state pays us. But basically off that map, we get funding for maintaining the roads. And that was not on that map. So I was like, well, as far as I'm concerned, that means it's not ours to maintain. And then, we got a call about not doing it, and so I was like, well, you gotta pick your battles. I'm like, I'm picking my battles. We're not maintaining somebody else's path there. So it sounded like that was vacated like in the 90s, and for some reason it just got left on our lists. And,
Yeah, because there are some of those in.
so we've tried to clean up some of those. Don't make sense.
Well, beyond inviting everybody to the tree lighting and Santa's arrival on Friday, 7 o'clock at the park.
All right.
Right out to be open.
Okay.
It's it's chaotic. It's like 2,000 people or something show up.
I went the last 2 years. I maybe did this year, but my family decided to do Thanksgiving that day, so we'll see. We're going out to dinner. It sounds like it got moved early, so I might we'll make it. But
Okay, Friday at 7.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
With that, do I need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I support.
Logan, Brandon, thank you. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.